So you ready?
Let's do this.
All right, let's do it. So I'm here today with James Morgan, who is realtor, broker, and manager for our Coldwell Banker Professionals office in Belleville. What's going on, man? It's good to have you here.
It's really good to be here, man. I cannot believe I'm even sitting here right now. We were at Gen Blue, and you were telling me, like, yo, I'm getting a podcast going. It's happening. And we started talking about it, and next thing you know, boom, podcast.
That's it. I told you I was serious about it when we went there. So I'm still, if you haven't noticed, we're making changes. We're trying to make it better. So this is a new one too, because we got a backdrop. So we're going to see how it turns out, but we're always making it better. So I'm happy to have you here and happy to get to talk.
Thanks, man. No, following Dawn, following Chris and Karina, I'm honored to be here. So let's get into it, man.
Let's get into it. So why don't we take you back to when did you get first licensed and kind of how did you get into the business?
Yeah, so I got in the business in 2018. I have a background in manufacturing. I mean, I've always dabbled a little bit here and there. When you actually start thinking about your past and the things that you've done, how many skills can actually translate into this business?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, manufacturing background. I was in a chemical plant for about 8 years. That was interesting. Hard work, dangerous work. And I started getting involved with the union, the steelworkers union. I was like, hey, if I'm going to be at work for 10 to 12 hours a day, I might as well argue with my managers and have some fun.
Right.
So I did. I ran for steward. I started negotiating contracts and grievances, helping my coworkers, keep their jobs, help them negotiate better wages. So I was dealing with problems on a regular basis all day long, every day, 365, never stopped. But eventually, and I was kind of on track to become a staff member of the Steelworkers Union. I really liked that. I went to leadership school and everything. But after that, I would have to hang around at the plant for a while, and I just couldn't wait. I was feeling incredibly unfulfilled. That hamster wheel, just feeling that hamster wheel, man. Driving an hour to work, working 10 hours plus, overtime, drive an hour back, wake up at 5 a.m. to be like, it sucked.
Yeah.
It sucked. Right. So eventually I was like, look, wife, I can't do this anymore. Mm-hmm. I know I'm built for more. So I don't want to go back to school. What's the next best thing? What could I do? Where can I put my skills into to create a life I want? And real estate just kind of happened. Actually, you know what? My sister-in-law at the time, she got into real estate. I was like, if she can do it, I can do it.
Oh yeah.
So October 2018, treated myself to a real estate license. Got it done, 40 hours right away. November, I'm starting. I'm finding a mentor, Miss Jessica Jones. Shout out to you. And from then on, I just completely dove in. I had my first lease transaction December 30th or 31st of 2019. Nice. Okay, and then I didn't close a transaction until July the following year.
Sounds about right. Yeah,
absolutely. But then from July to December, went on a tear, closed over $1 million, and just kept going. Just completely submerged myself into this business.
Yeah, it's funny too because the first deal I ever closed was a lease as well.
Really?
So I think I got paid like $200.
Yeah. That was right.
But that was like the intro to real estate. So you go from, hardcore 10, 12 hours, manual labor, busting your, into real estate. So did that work ethic kind of transcribe over from that? And you were obviously able to get a little bit more of a return based on the effort that you were putting into real estate.
That's a really great question. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think you know what? In my family, I didn't have like these hard examples of work ethic. Like I know your dad, right?
Yep.
Roofer,
right?
You had that instilled with you from the beginning. I didn't really have that, so I drew from a lot of people.
Okay.
Maybe friends' dads and things like that. But to say a work ethic came from something, no, I just don't want to be average. I think that's where my drive comes in. I know I'm not average, so I got to be who I am.
So that kind of driving force behind your work ethic stems from you don't want to live in average status quo, mediocrity, boring life.
Right. No, who does?
Nobody.
Who does?
Right?
If you say that to yourself, you're lying. You're lying to yourself. In fact, I remember there was a time where I was working that 40 to 60 hours a week, getting nice paychecks, great benefits. I was totally fine coming home, having a few beers and doing it the next day, doing some things on the weekends. That's what all my friends were doing, right?
Yeah.
Not to say there's anything wrong with hard labor, blue collar labor. You and I are built from that, right?
Absolutely.
Right? But if you want more, you got to do different things.
Yeah.
Right?
And so you said you were kind of grabbing from other people and other mentors throughout your life. Was there a certain event that kind of flip that for you to, hey, you know, because you were living that, you know, steady flow, average lifestyle. Is there something that happened that triggered that shift, or is that something that was always just kind of there?
It was always there. I knew I was always meant for more. I mean, while I was at the plant, I was thinking about starting a coffee shop, a cafe. Before that, I was doing some you're familiar with the Herbalife Nutrition Company, mid-level marketing. I was doing a little bit of that. That's a little bit of sales.
Sure.
It's health coaching, things like that. So, I mean, yeah, that's kind of where I drew some of that stuff from was.
And so as you start to make that shift over in your first, I mean, we can all relate, our first year of real estate is kind of getting punched in the face over and over and over again, right? And then someone trying to help you up and then punch you in the face again. So how were you able to battle through all that? Because you kind of had a pretty fast start, right? Like you said, you had your first lease deal, then you had boom, $1 million. So like, what kind of helped you get through that transition from, you know, working in the plant to real estate, and how was that actually experience like for you?
The experience for me was, one, I took it in head on. So I didn't just up and quit my job and go do this. I had a plan. I had some savings. I had a wife that could help. But I've done that before. I've put one toe in the water.
Yeah.
And I can be good at it and I'll have success. But if you're never fully submerge yourself and submerge yourself into it, you're just going to dabble and you're just going to be average. Right. So for me, it was diving in head first, submersing myself completely. One of the great things about this company, Coldwell Banker Professionals, specifically, is the mentor program, right? And I know I shout out Jessica Jones, but she's my mentor as well. She's my business partner, co-manager, but she's also my mentor.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And that was really important. In fact, that's probably one of the biggest things I remember that happening. I went in real estate school. I did the 40 hours in class, and he was a real estate broker doing the class, and he gave us those tips. He was like, "Hey, you could go to a big brokerage in Ann Arbor, get lost. Oh, we got good training, this and that, you get lost. Or you could find a smaller office, look for he was like, specifically goes, go find yourself a mentor. I was like, okay. So found out the mentor program, and I was like, I need her to be my mentor because I want to learn everything from her. So I did that with her as often as I could, in the office as often as I could, full time, submersing myself into training. In fact, that first 6 to 7 months that I didn't close a transaction in 2019, what was I doing? I wasn't just hanging around watching TV. I was going to every class I could. Greater Metropolitan Area of Realtors, that's our board, all the classes they offered, getting certifications, every class that the company offered, YouTube videos galore, books.
Oh yeah.
Right? You gotta submerge yourself. And I think that's why I had the success I had that first year, was because I submersed myself into the business. I didn't casually do it when I wanted to.
Right. You talked about dipping your toe in the water, and that ain't gonna work in real estate. You gotta burn the boats and you gotta be in, right? And so even though you weren't closing deals, you said you were still in the office every day, you were going to training events, you were watching videos, so you were still actively learning the business. You weren't just kind of waiting around for something to happen?
No. I mean, floor time, I was waiting around for calls to come in.
Yeah.
But while I was on floor time, I mean, yeah, I was making calls. I was watching trainings. I was doing things that to make myself better and my career better.
Gotcha. Yep. And so you're very, personalized. You like to run things your own way, right? And so when you get into the business, how did you tailor your business based on your strengths? What did you lean on? What did you leverage? Like what tools did you really utilize when you got started?
Yeah, for sure. So I mentioned that, hey, you never know the skills that are going to translate, to this business.
Yep.
And they might even go back to grade school. And you don't even realize it, right? So, hey, I am a personal guy, and I understand that. I don't mind being in front of people. I don't care what people think of me, right? You got to go. You got to be yourself. But in order to be yourself, you have to be yourself, right? So start trying new things. Say yes to new things. Say yes to hard things. Say yes to things that scare you. And hey, social media scares a lot of people, right?
Yeah, it does. Hell yeah, it does.
For sure. So yeah, man, as soon as I got into the business, I can visualize the post. In fact, you check out my Instagram. I remember seeing that magazine, that Realtor Mag, and it had at the time the president on there, and it said, it was the end of the year issue because I just got my license. It was like, tell your story. It was the January issue, I think. So I was like, first post. I'm excited to tell you my story. I'm excited to share my story with you. Here's what we got to do. Here's what I'm going to do. It's going to be hard, but watch me, pay attention. Things like that. So from then on, I just I dove into social media. It wasn't perfect. It was kind of ugly at first. I was figuring it out.
Oh, yeah.
Like I got into I just started posting everything I did, number one, right? Floor time, you're on the computer, post it. Showing, post it. Inspection, post it. Just what you're doing, you know? I probably should have did a post today. Hey.
We'll do one after. We'll do one after.
Alex, right? I probably should have did that today.
Yeah, we'll do it after.
Post everything you do, for sure. And just start there. Start there, and then you'll get better and more comfortable. More comfortable and more comfortable. But you got to be yourself. But yeah, social media. So I know you wanted to dive more into social media.
Yeah, well, I do because when I've been in the business, I didn't do a lot of social media just because I wasn't really comfortable with it. I wasn't familiar with it. I didn't really know how it worked. I didn't really understand the value behind it.
Right.
But when we went to Gen Blue, you know, I was in your ear the whole time saying, Jesus, we got to do this. We got to do that. We got to come up with this. We left Gen Blue and we had like 2 pages of notes together because we went to social media classes. Yeah. But there's a lot of stuff coming back to it. And you mentioned a good point, which is tell your story and be yourself. Because a lot of agents out there, you know, when they're on social media, they like try and do like this professional, like buttoned up version. It's not even themselves. Yeah. So like, how important is it to come across as like yourself and be authentic and have that level of authenticity as opposed to just being another boring, dry salesperson?
I think it's incredibly important, especially in this age. In moving forward in 2023, I think the population is craving more authenticity than ever. They don't want the polished button up. I think that's for sure because everything's digitalized. We're being sold to all the time. They want somebody that they can relate to and trust. But yeah, you got to be yourself for sure. Do you remember going to the Gen Blue class and the Katie Lance?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you don't follow Katie Lance, go follow Katie Lance. Great. Facebook and Instagram, tons of social media tips and tricks and resources. And she goes, I remember doing this and this and that. And my friend telling me, because she didn't want to get on video, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right,
oh yeah.
Right? And she was like, and my friend telling me, he goes, I'm gonna tell you a little secret. That's the way you look.
Yeah, right.
That's the way you sound.
Yeah.
Just go be you.
Yeah,
and
that's it.
You can't change this. Well, I guess you can.
You can, yeah.
You better make a lot of money in real estate.
Yeah, you need a lot of money to do that. But yeah, that's just be yourself. Like that's why when you try and be somebody else on social media and you show up, that's not the person they're expecting.
No.
Right? They want to know who you actually are, what you do, what you like, what you don't like, right. and just not this, you know, shell of your corporate, whatever you want to call it, vision, right?
That's right.
And so yes, I've gotten a lot bigger on social media because I realize the value of it. And so are you Facebook, Instagram? Like what are your 2 main points? And what you said your content is more about you. Like what else are you posting for content wise?
So yeah, I really just focus on Facebook and Instagram. Particularly I've dabbled into TikTok, and honestly what I end up doing is when there's 3-4 platforms to try to run, like I'm just putting the same content on all the platforms.
Yeah, repetitive.
Yeah, just very repetitive. So for me, I'm not on TikTok anymore. I don't do Snapchat. LinkedIn is growing though as a social media platform. That's something to pay attention to.
Okay.
But no, I focus on Facebook and Instagram in particular because it's just all too much to manage.
Gotcha.
But before we get into that, I want to say something. Like I keep it real with everybody right now. I don't love social media.
I don't either. I don't either.
I don't. I think it's bad for your mental health if you're on it too much, right? So I'm not, like, where I'm at in social media is just part of my journey for doing it for the past 4 years. But I don't love it. I'm not on it 10 to 20 times a day. In fact, I didn't have the platforms. I deleted the platforms before I got into real estate, right? But knew it was necessary as an entrepreneur in this digital age to be on social media. I mean, can you tell me where you're going to find where you're going to be able to market your business to more people for less money? Is there another? If there is a platform, you guys got to share it with us.
Yeah,
because we don't know.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to your point, I posted a 30-second clip yesterday on a Sunday for free, and like it got 1,500 views. 30 seconds, and I put together a video and it got 1,500 and reached 1,500 people.
Right.
To your point, social media should not be your primary source of business.
Absolutely.
Right. So like we have a lot of talk about, okay, how do you generate business? How do you get new leads? Which is important, but social media is more about keeping your current relationship strong.
Yes. And
keeping in front of the people who already know you.
Yes.
Right.
And creating more trust.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Showing them more of your personality. Right. Because how many times have you guys heard it? If they like you, they'll work with you.
Yep.
Show your personality. Show you're not a bum.
Yep.
That you know some things.
Yep.
And you can help people. and then stay top of mind. That's really all what social media is just staying top of mind so that they don't go call or knock on the neighbor's door and ask for their recommendation for a realtor.
Yeah.
You're popping up in their feed on a regular basis.
It's a touch point.
Yes.
Right?
It's a touch point.
It's just a touch point. And so when you're doing that, keep that in mind. Something else you want to keep in mind is obviously be yourself, right? Be true to yourself, but keep in mind of who your audience is, right? So when you're on Facebook or social media or Instagram, whatever it is, keep in mind of who your audience is. And one of the best ways to create content, if you guys need some help, is your content should revolve around solving their problems.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's how you provide value. You want to solve people's problems who know you, and that's how people get interaction. That's how people click on it. That's how people watch it and message you. So that's something that you should keep in mind. Know who your audience is, as well as create content that solves problems.
Yeah, those are two huge tips. And if you fully understand that, you'll be good at social media. Like your audience, like your social platform right now is coaching, right?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Right? So your audience is any real estate agent in the world.
Yep.
It's a hell of an audience.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah.
Excuse my French. But two, you said, what was the other thing you said?
Know your audience, and the content should focus around problem solving.
Yes, problem solving. Isn't that what we get paid to do?
Mm-hmm.
We're problem solvers.
Yep.
Somebody needs to sell a house, it's a problem. Somebody needs to buy a house, it's a problem.
It's a problem.
We're problem solvers. So you mentioned, hey, what content should we be doing? Well, right there, that's all your content, right? We get our content is our lives.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is. It is.
It really is. So, all you got to do is think of the questions that your clients ask you on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What's a due diligence period?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When's the appraisal happen? What is an appraisal? I've had clients ask me, or buyer clients ask, or seller clients ask me, so we pay for the appraisal.
Yeah. They have no idea.
People don't know what they
they don't know. They don't know.
That contract's long. That purchase agreement's long. Every single article of that purchase agreement could be a social media video.
Yeah, absolutely. And you also want to keep it short.
Yes.
Right? You want to try, really the shorter the better, but if you really can try and keep it under 60 seconds, that's ideal.
Yes, absolutely. So diving more into that, I guess some of my recommendations would be the video could start off and, like you said, keep it quick. I like to keep them around 30 seconds or so if I can. So some people say don't do an introduction. Some people say do an introduction. Either way is good. So I might say, hey, everyone, this is James from Coldwell Banker Real Estate. I get the question all the time.
There you go. There's your hook.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, this is James Morgan from Coldwell Banker Real Estate. Did you know that? Right. And you just keep diving into it. So that's one idea. And then have you heard of that acronym, the ROAD acronym? All right. So something Tom Ferry says all the time.
Okay.
All right. And it's ROAD.
Okay.
ROAD acronym. Rip off and duplicate.
Oh, there you go.
All right. We don't have to reinvent the wheel constantly. Mm-hmm. We can go say, wow, look at Alex, look what Alex is doing. That's incredible. I want to do that. So you go do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right? In fact, do it better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put your flavor on it. Put your spin on it. Rip off and duplicate. Watch what other people are doing and do it better.
That's all people do, really, because it's not even like, I know ripping off sounds bad, but it's not, because if anything, you're further the message, you're getting it out to more people, right? Yes. And if you can do it better and get more people to get exposed to, then that's just the benefit to the people viewing it as well as the message.
Yes.
So yes, rip off or whatever you said. Yes.
Rip off and duplicate.
Rip off and duplicate. That's a great strategy, because that's where a lot of my content comes from too, and personal experience or what you experienced, what you may have seen online. But that's something you also should be doing, because if you don't have content to rip off, that means you're not looking at any content, which is a problem.
There you go. You should be absorbing good content, educational content, things that make you a better realtor, a better person, and all that. And quickly, one more hack before we get off topic. All those like infographics and things like that you get from like the title companies and all lenders and all that. Don't just post the graphic.
Yeah.
If that graphic has a tip on it, that should be a video.
Yes.
Any graphic that you see with a tip, anything that has any type of language in it, that should be a video.
Yes. Yep.
Turn it into a video. So, hack, grab those.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many infographics I've turned into videos.
As you should. That just, again, exposes it to more people. And if you're doing videos, reels, do reels, do reels, do reels. Facebook and Instagram, that's going to get you the most exposure possible.
Hands down.
And keep it short.
Keep it
short,
short,
quick edits.
You can do up to 90 seconds on Reels on Instagram, which is fine. but you really want to keep it short because
it just drags out.
Yeah, people's attention span is what, 10 to 15 seconds long? I mean, you think about it, how long have stories been around? Instagram stories and Facebook stories?
Yeah.
How long are those up for?
Like 5-10 seconds.
5-10 seconds. And what are we doing? We can't even wait. We're clicking through those.
It's like next.
Right.
Oh,
What have we been doing? We've been getting programmed to have
yeah.
shorter attention spans. So put out content the way you consume content.
Yep. I do that all the time because if I don't look at my phone for a while and I just see these stories, I just go quickly, just get them off my screen. I want to look at them, right?
Right.
So yes, keep it short. The other thing that I know we want to touch on, because you talked about how too much of it can be bad. Guys, people are just being pounded nonstop by corporate media, the mainstream media. Market's going to tank. Bad, bad, bad. I just met with the coaching team last week, and we're nowhere near 2008 and 2009. Literally, just inventory levels. I'll share this with you. We're about 115,000 less homes than there were on the market in 2008 and 2009.
That's incredible.
So all this fear of the sky's falling, the market's going to crash, the numbers don't indicate that.
Nope.
And just keep in mind, fear sells. That's why they do it. They want clicks. They want that clickbait. So a lot of your sellers and buyers are seeing and hearing that. So you need to be out there counteracting that narrative by putting out this content that we're talking about so they actually understand what's going on.
1,000%, man. We were just talking about this the other day, and I was talking about it with one of my preferred lenders. Like, hey, we got to probably sit down over a video, maybe similar to this, and answer some questions for the people because, I mean, I'm not somebody who watches the news a lot anymore. In fact, I used to be big into it. Like I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I need to start my day off with positivity and things. So I've really backed off of that. I remember mentioning to you about, we had Mike Ferry on a couple years back during the pandemic. Can't believe we had Mike Ferry on, by the way. But I remember him saying, like, I haven't watched news in like, what was it, 40 years or something? I was like, how do you do that? No way. But it does make a difference for your mindset and controlling your mindset throughout the day. But yeah, there is so much negativity out there. So I'll read like Apple News once in a while, and I'm seeing these headlines. You know, there was a Realtor.com headline the other day. It was like something recession looming, right?
Yeah.
And then the article, if you actually read the article,
Which nobody does.
nobody does. Agents, you should be reading articles, forming your own opinions, right? But in the article, it totally contradicted
The headline.
yeah. It was incredible. It was just a clickbait headline. And then there were 3 more while I was scrolling too. Recession looming. You should wait to buy a home. This, and this. And then they go and share numbers that are actually positive numbers.
Yeah,
right?
sounds about right.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the news, guys. That's why. So your sellers and buyers are getting that information. They're not getting it from you.
Yeah.
And guess who's not buying a home next year? It's Tommy and Jenny, who are too afraid, or they think they don't have the money to, or whatever, right? Because they're not hearing from you.
Because they're being force-fed misinformation or whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
Because the media's job is not to give out accurate information. The media's job is to get clicks. Like that's why I said fear sells. So that's why you have to be out there producing content from people who know you, trust you, like you, respect you, because they're going to value your opinion much more than somewhere else on a corporate news outlet. And that could be the difference between someone choosing to buy or sell right now.
Right. Absolutely. How many times do we get the question, James, Alex, how's the market?
All the
How's
time.
market? You're going to get it
All the time.
You're going to get it you're probably going to get 700 times in April of 2023.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe you should need to post a regular video about how's the market. How's
Well,
your
I want to
local
wait because I'm going to
market?
wait till the market crashes. I'm like, where are you getting this?
Right. I'm gonna wait to sell. I'm gonna wait to sell. Right. I'm gonna wait till spring where there's way more competition and more homes on the market. Right. No. They need to be hearing from you that, hey, what was the thing in coaching was? Would you be surprised if I told you the opposite?
Yes. Would it surprise you to know? Would it surprise you to hear? Yes. On that topic of mindset and being mindful of what you feed yourself, I know you and I are both deep into personal development.
Big time.
Let's touch on that because I know we can spend a whole hour on that. But what do you do? What do you read? What are you listening to? What do you get into for personal development?
All right, so we gotta watch the clock.
Yeah, I got it.
We're doing
good.
We could spend an hour on this topic alone. We should do a whole nother session
I know.
just on personal development. Seriously, it's very near and dear to my heart. Getting real with you, like, hey, I am not sitting here with Alex Peck today without the concept of personal development.
Mm-hmm.
It's fact.
Yeah.
Just not. So I was kind of thinking about it, like coming on. I'm like, how am I gonna? What can we talk about as far as personal development goes? So I was like, hey, I was trying to find this definition in my head. I just couldn't like get the right word. So I just went and found one. So I'm gonna read it to you guys. All right.
Let's hear it.
Tell me what you think. I want to hear your thoughts
All right.
about it. I thought it was perfect. All right. Personal development consists of activities that develop a person's capabilities and potential, build human capital, facilitate employability, and enhance quality of life and the realization of dreams and aspirations.
I like it.
Mic drop.
I like it.
Right?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That is personal development right there.
It's so
So
funny.
if you didn't know, that's what it is.
It's so funny too, because a lot of people, personal development, what does that mean? Well, it's almost like a way of life,
Yes.
right? Because you can't just like, okay, yeah, I want this, but I'm not willing to do this, 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 and this, and this to get it, right? I want the end result, but I'm not willing to do the 10 things to get me there.
That's exactly right. So yes, I was introduced this concept of personal development about 12 years ago-ish in the chemical plant. And I just, it was like a shocker to me. I was like, man, I can't believe nobody's ever told me about this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was only ever told, hey, go to school, get an education, go get a job, work 40 hours a week, have a baby, do this and that. Don't work on yourself.
Yeah.
Read books, but
safe.
don't read be safe, everything, right? So yeah, I learned about this, and then I heard this quote from Jim Rohn. So the concept of personal development kind of summed up to me is like kind of what you just said. Like, hey, I want these things, but I'm not willing to do the things to get those things right. So I also wrote down, hey, what you become, this is personal development. What you become is far more important than what you get out of this life. What you become is far more important than what you get. So kind of think about it like this. Everything that you have right now, good, bad, you've attracted by the person you've become today.
Yep.
And the person you are today is the reason why you have these things, and these things are happening to you and all that good stuff, right? So if you want different things and you want a different life, you got to do different things.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Right.
One of the most common sayings I got early on was no change equals no change. Simple as that. If you want to change, you have to change what it is you're doing, right?
Yes.
And I'm a kind of similar boat. When I was coming up, nobody talked to me about personal development. Nobody talked to me about investing in real estate. Nobody talked to me about how to grow wealth. Nobody talked about me about the tax code. Like,
Right.
I had to learn
We're
all
not
that
taught
stuff.
money in schools.
No. And so I was the same thing. Go to school, get a job, and get a 401k. I'm like, that just sounds like terrible advice. Like, that doesn't sound good to me at all. And I remember saying, because I had to pay for my college myself. And I went to OU I lasted about half a semester. And so I was sitting in this English class, and I'm just sitting here, and I'm like, what am I ever going to do with this? Like, what is the point of me learning this? I was a business major. Okay. And literally after half a semester, I'm like, this is stupid. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. I'm not coming back. And I just dropped out. And that's when I walked into a broker's office and said, hey, I want to be in sales. I think a house is probably one of the best things to sell. What is this all about? He sold me on it, and I got my license, and that was it.
Man, incredible. But that's choice to change, going against the grain of what everybody else is doing.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Challenging their belief systems and sticking to your own.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
And every time you do something that's different from what someone else is doing, this is a good way to identify who's on your team too, by the way, is how they react. Oh, yeah. Right? So when you tell them, because a lot of times people react based on how your position in their life will change. Yep. Right? So how is their life going to change by what you're doing? Not how your life is going to change.
That's huge. Did you guys hear that? Like, that's huge. That's kind of like, you're challenging people's way of life by being different.
Yep.
They don't like that. People don't like when you challenge their way of life. They don't.
And then you're also holding up a big mirror to say, hey, this guy is doing what I secretly wanted to do, but I'm not doing it, or I can't do it. So I have this underlying resentment towards them, and I'm going to try and discourage them.
Right. That's great, man. As we're talking, like I said, I could pull out 1,000 quotes out of this brain, but Jim Rohn, if you're not familiar with Jim Rohn, go check him out. He's incredibly motivational. He said these things. I've read these things, and he said these things that just stuck into me, man, for so long. And the one was work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job, because what we just said, what you become is far more important than what you get.
Absolutely.
So again, kind of just going back, that's why I'm sitting here with you today, is because I took that phrase, that quote, quite literally.
Yeah, as
quite
you should.
Literally. I did things at work while I was working on my job. So again, chemical plant, like we're making these chemicals and filling up 55-gallon drums, right? We make them, we process them, we contain them, we ship them. One of my jobs was to fill the containers, right? And there'd be a pallet of 4. So these Lance would go down and fill up these drums full of acid or whatever, and it might take 2, 5, 10 minutes to fill each drum, whatever. Well, I brought my nonfiction personal development books to work, and I read in between every drum fill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I took it quite literally. So while I was at work, I was working on myself.
Well, that's the thing too, because no matter who you talk to, yeah, I want to get better. Yeah, I want to do this. It's okay. You can say you want to do that, but are you actually going to read a book while you're filling up what you're filling up at work? Are you going to invest in the things and take it literally and actually implement and take action? I know you're a reader, as am I. So I try and read every single day. I put something in my mind because that's value, right? When you can regurgitate that and implement it and execute it. I have a really weird memory. I can remember stuff from years ago, but that's just because I have a high retention rate. But reading is huge. So what do you read typically? Like, what have you read? What do you recommend?
Great question. Yeah, I definitely read. I think it's very important to read. If you're not a good reader, a skilled reader, a big reader, whatever, no excuses. Download Audible, download podcasts, and get going on them.
Yep.
So, yeah, books. My favorite books: personal development, personal and business.
Anything that you think anyone in business should read.
I think that when you become a real estate agent, a brand new real estate agent, whether you have a good background, successful background or not, I think that in this career, you're going to have to do things that are going to challenge you that you've never done before.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to have to start figuring out why they're challenging you. I always say I think this real estate career brings out a lot of personal demons.
Oh, yeah.
That you kind of forgot about or suppressed.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So when you're shaking like this before you make a call, this probably comes from your background somewhere, right? Maybe part of the domestication process or something like that. So I think that you need to protect yourself and you start training your brain. One of my favorite books, I've read it 3, 4, 5 times. Last year I gave it as gifts to my agents. It's a personal book. It's not a business book. It's called The 4 Agreements by Miguel Ruiz. He's got a whole series. The 4 Agreements. It's like that big. It's paperback. It's kind of small, but it's like a personal belief system. That like one of those. That's a book that changed my life, my outlook on life, things like that. Personally, he's got a whole series going to the 5th Agreement, to the Mastery of Love. And a whole series. Definitely check out Miguel Ruiz and that whole series, The 4 Agreements. Business-wise, let me pull up my
Go ahead.
Pull up my audiobook list here. I would say one of the first few I read. What did I like? The 4-Hour Workweek's pretty good.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of good things about that. Yeah.
The Miracle Morning for real estate agents.
Another good one.
In particular, they have a Miracle Morning, but there's one specifically for real estate agents. The audiobook's really good. Really like that. Man, I will read anything. I've read Verbal Judo. That's about like negotiating and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss.
That's a good one too, yeah.
Huge.
That's a really good one.
I've listened to that 3 times. I use the principles in that book all the time. If you read anything next year, read Split the Difference, right? For your business, because hey, what have real estate agents not been doing the past 2 years?
Negotiating, yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. So yeah, those are some books that are near and dear to my heart. How about you?
Yeah, I definitely read a lot of personal development, but I'm big into psychology and philosophy. So I read a lot of psychology and philosophy. Regarding business, I would strongly encourage, if you haven't read it, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie is a must. That's a must read.
Yes.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. That opened my eyes into the real estate investment side, which really just kind of jump-started me, because we're in sales. Yeah, it's great to do sales, but I didn't really have a reason to do it.
Right.
Now that's my reason, is I eventually want to get into apartment complexes and start buying those and build up. 12 Rules of Life, Antidote to Chaos by Dr. Jordan Peterson. He's a clinical psychologist. Great book. I'm reading, I need to read it a couple times because it's so deep. It's called Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, who was the emperor of Rome for 25 years, one of the most successful rulers there, and stuff in there is true today. I mean, it's crazy. So those are a couple of mine.
But
really,
those are great books. Like you write those down, check them out. Like I said, the physical book or the audio books are great. We are busy.
Podcast.
Listen to them in your car while you're doing dishes, in the shower. Just listen. Just listen. You're gonna absorb.
Listen to this one. This is a good one. So just feed your mind. Okay.
Absolutely.
Just have something positive, because what you think about and what you focus on is really going to dictate your outlook every day.
Oh, it is.
Right. So if you wake up and watch the news and all negative, then that's how you start your day, and that's how the day is going to eventually go.
Absolutely.
Because that's how you're starting it.
And you are what you repeat. You are what you repeat.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Oh, yeah.
You drink coffee every day? You're a coffee drinker.
Yeah.
You smoke every day? You're a smoker. You list more houses than you help buyers buy? You're a listing agent. So start doing those things that those people, the person you want to become, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like start doing those things.
And when you're looking for a mentor like James did, you want to make sure that they're currently at a place where you want to be. Right?
That's for sure.
And not only that, but to really vet who's real and who's not, is you want to learn from someone who's done it at least 3 times. Right? Because the first time can be luck. Second time can be chance. Third time it's proven.
God, I like
like
that.
they know how to do it if they do it 3 times.
I like that. That's cool.
So we just spent a good amount of time on personal development. I know we can keep going, but we got a lot of stuff to get to. Speaking of sources of business, so we've touched on social media, Facebook, Instagram. What about the nuts and bolts, the meat and potatoes? What am I going to do today that's going to lead to business tomorrow, which is my personal favorite, for sale by owners?
All right. So you want to talk some for sale by owners?
Let's do it, man. How did you, because I know you work for sale by owners, so you take it wherever you want to take it.
Okay. Yeah. So for me, obviously, if you join this company, even back in 2019, we're still preaching FSBOs and prospects and things like that. So that's where I learned. And I started doing it back then because of the listing boot camps and stuff. In between time, not consistently trying it, this and that. I was very disingenuous on the phone. Yeah, I got a buyer. This and that. Awful. Don't do that.
Terrible.
Just be real with people. When I pick up that phone, there's a reason I'm calling. It's not to bring you a buyer. Promise you that. Right. So, but yeah. So working FSBOs. So and then I got more into FSBOs when I started coaching with you.
Yep.
So I started coaching with Alex last year, June-ish, July. And then decided to take on the management role 3 months later, which was a whole experience in and of itself. But you and I were working FSBOs pretty hard because one, they were like, man, I remember like they were just like 20, 30 a day in my system. It was insane. Couldn't get to them. And then, at least in my area, I mean, they were selling. Like sellers did not need us. And I truly think, actually, that kind of makes me go back to the content that you're putting out and being conscious of the content. Like all these real estate agents during that time, the past 2 years, putting all these jokes out, right? And telling them, and then bragging, right? I sold your house in 5 minutes.
Yeah, Mike. I know.
One day.
I know.
Right? It's like, how did you bring the value?
Yeah.
Explain to me. How did you bring the value if you sold that house in 5 minutes?
I paid you $12,000 to do a day's worth of work is pretty much what you're telling me.
Is what happened the past 2 years, right?
Yeah.
So I think real estate agents created a lot of that problem because we're out there making jokes and putting out these numbers and bragging like you're something hot when you just got your license 3 months ago and you sold a house in 12 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I think at that time, one of the things that I did, and personally, I recommend you always do, you don't always need to follow the crowd, right? When everybody's doing something, look the other way. When everybody's going this way, look the other way and see if you can find value that way. Right? Because that's how you're going to stand out from the crowd. So when all the other agents during that time were bragging about, I sold this house in 17 minutes, the next day, 50,000 above in 4 hours. I was telling my sellers, and I was having discussions with my sellers that we were not going to do that unless that was what they wanted.
Sure.
It's like, if you want this house sold in 24 hours, I will get that for you. Or you can let me do my job.
Yeah.
I can market the house properly and expose it properly, because what do we preach out there? More exposure equals more showings, equals more offers, equals a higher price for the seller.
Yep.
So I felt that I was doing a disservice to my sellers by saying, hey, I got an offer in 24 hours. You should take it. It's 20 grand above.
Sign it. Sign it.
20 grand above. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if I marketed the property for a full week, did an open house, one, I could have sold the house myself. And two, I'm sure your seller'd like 40 grand above list price rather than 20.
What about a waived inspection, a waived appraisal?
All of it, right?
Yeah.
But you don't get that by accepting the first one. You market the property, take your time. So that was kind of what I did. And I felt like I was bringing the value during that time. Well, I think you're going to have to start, changing that moving forward in the 2023 market. Is you got to bring more value.
Yep.
You have to bring more value. That's for sure. So, yes, getting back to for sale by owners. For sale by owners are going to need us more moving forward. Hands down, we're seeing it already. They're lingering on the market.
Yep.
They're taking time. It's taking them 30 plus days to sell. They need us. They need us more than ever, for sure. So, yeah, we're prospecting FSBOs. We're prospecting expireds. And I think that in this changing market, like you and I have talked about, I think there's going to be another mass exodus of real estate agents.
Oh, yeah. 20 or 30% probably wiped off the map by next year.
No doubt. No doubt. And that's going to leave more for us to feast on, and specifically the agents with the skills. They're going to be the ones that feast and keep their career going.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
And in a shifting market, a lot of people may be nervous or scared or apprehensive about it, but if you're skilled and you're disciplined and you put in the work, it's exciting. Because now, like you said, a lot of agents are going to fall off the map. And in a shifting market, our value as agents increases. Yeah. Right? Because now a seller needs someone who knows how to price ahead of the market. They need someone who knows how to negotiate terms. They need someone who knows how to get it closed. And from a for sale by owner's perspective, they don't have as many. First of all, they don't have a lot of buyers looking at them anyway because they're off market, right? They're not getting a lot of exposure.
Right. Secret properties.
Right. They're off market. They're secret properties. But now, even with inventory is up almost 20, 30% across the board year over year, which means buyers now have more options to buy from. So they don't have to look at for sale by owners anymore, which means they're sitting, which means that they're not going to sell as quick and for as much. Yep. So that's our proposition from an agent's point is, look, even now, yeah, you can definitely sell your home, Mr. For Sale by Owner. But the real question becomes is, are you going to get full market value for it? Because you're probably not if you're going to sell it yourself.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So moving forward, you need to be thinking about, one, how you're going to serve people better, but two, how you're going to speak to these people differently as well, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Excuse me. We can't speak to for sale by owners the same way in 2023 that we did the past 2 years. Would you agree with that?
100%. And not lie about having a buyer either. That's like the worst thing. That's like the slimiest thing you can do.
It's awful. It just means you have no skills and you don't know what else to say.
No skills, and you're starting off the relationship through deception and lies. It's a great way to start, right?
For sure.
So be upfront about it. And, it doesn't have to be for sale by owners. It could be expireds. It can be withdrawals. It can be door knocking. The point is you can't depend on one source of business anymore. What you did over the last really 5 to 10 years is not going to work in the next 5 to 10 years coming up. You have to be different. You have to create multiple sources of business. You have to work harder, and you have to be a lot more diligent in your lead follow-up.
1,000%. So yeah, really think about one thing I'm doing for my personal business and talking to my agents about is now is the time when it's a little bit slow, right? Now's the time to be thinking about every aspect of your business and what it looks like, how you're treating your clients through every step of the way.
Yep.
Right? What kind of value can you bring them? What kind of value can you increase for them? I think moving forward, you're going to need to give sellers and buyers more options.
Yep.
Sellers specifically.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sellers specifically. I think this is like the prime market for that menu of services.
Oh, yeah. Not only that, but the level of service that you're offering, right? Because we could just throw a sign in the yard, throw pictures up, and it'll sell in 24 hours, right?
Right.
And it can happen anymore. So if you want, one of the best ways to provide value to a seller is give them data, showing data, traffic data, feedback data, right? Like that's what they need. How often are you following up with your seller? How often are you communicating with them? How often are you giving them data? If you have to do a price adjustment, how are you doing it? Yeah. If you're doing it over the phone or if you're doing it over text, don't do it that way. Nope. Think about it. All right, James, I'm calling you and I got to ask you for $20,000. You got to take off the asking price. And all I'm going to do is change the price in the MLS. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Right? What is a seller getting? If you do it by text too, like you don't deserve a price reduction. Like,
gosh,
if anything, face to face, set another appointment to go out there and do a price reduction. Worst case scenario, do it over Zoom or FaceTime. You want to get virtual face to face because it's a big conversation. And I, as a seller, just like any other seller out there, would want to know, what am I going to get if I'm going to drop the price? Because when we drop the price, what's the first question they ask?
Well, what about your money? Like your commission, right?
Will you cut your commission? Hey, if I got to take a discount, you should take a discount, right?
Right.
No, because when we do a price reduction as agents, our workload actually increases. Yeah. Right? We have to do more work, and we have to show a seller that.
Yes, absolutely. You should always do in front of them. They should see the pain in your face that you even have to have this conversation with them. Yep. Like I'll tell my sellers, this is next to having a deal fall apart and have to explain that, this is the other worst conversation I have to have with clients.
Yep.
So I do not want to be here having this conversation with you, but the market's telling us something. This is where we're at. So one, I do like to use price adjustment. I do use that personally. And then one of my things is hey, you know, we need to open, basically the market's telling us something, you know, it's out of balance, whatever. You guys all know that. But what we got to do is we got to open up this listing so more buyers see it. So we got to open it up to a different buyer pool.
Yep.
Right? So that they see your property and they can come in and show it, because before they weren't seeing it.
Yes.
Based on the price, right?
Yep. And so what I've been hitting on with my agents on the coaching team is, if you drop the price, I'm going to commit to a remarketing campaign.
Yes. Write that down. I'm going to commit to a remarketing campaign for you.
Yes. I'm going to commit to a remarketing campaign. So what does that consist of? Well, I'm going to freshen up the primary listing photo. I'm going to change the price. I'm going to do a video. I'm going to do more marketing. I'm going to do an open house. I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to give you the data from the showing feedback, right? Yep. I'm going to do all these things. So here's what you're getting in exchange for your $15,000 price adjustment.
Yeah, essentially, you kind of got to like prove yourself again.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
So you've got to essentially resell the seller and show the value as to, okay, if you're going to come down on price, here's what I'm going to do for you.
Right.
And that's just why I'm not cutting my commission, because I have to do all this extra work the second time around.
Yes, absolutely. I wanted to get back to FSBOs because I think that's huge. I think it's huge moving forward. It's going to be huge for the agents in coaching, learning that skill set. If you want to learn that skill set, inquire about coaching. It'll change your life. There are going to be skilled agents that are feasting on FSBOs. And like I said, I think you do need to speak differently to them for sure. And, you know, you don't always have to be super scripted.
No.
Right. And in fact, once you actually start doing it and you start internalizing the scripts that we give you, you're going to be able to put it into your own words, and it's going to be just flow naturally. So for me, like sometimes I don't go script for script, word for word. Like, so instead, you know, I know on your script, it's, hey, I'm calling up at the house for sale. Is this the owner? Great. This is James. And the reason I'm calling was I'm curious, once you move, where would you go? Yeah. Right. So sometimes I change it up and just say, hey, you know, hey, I'm calling about the house for sale. Oh, okay. Well, this is James from Coldwell Banker Real Estate. You know, your listing came across my desk this morning. And I was just curious. I mean, what has you selling this beautiful home?
There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Talk to them like a human. Right. Don't just start selling them and drilling them with questions.
Oh yeah. Well, I go off script all the time, right? Because if someone jumps down my throat and says, you're like the 15th person to call me, blah, blah. Oh my God, you're kidding me. How many of those 15 agents actually brought you a buyer so far? Oh, wow. Okay. None. Well, when you sold the home, where were you looking to move to? Oh, so you want to move down to Florida? Well, ideally, how soon do you want to be down there? And then it just turns into a conversation.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, have some fun on the phone, guys. Like, these are real people. Treat them human. They do have a problem that you can help with. But yeah, I like having fun. I might even say, so I mean, out of pure curiosity, why'd you decide to list yourself rather than list with a real estate agent? Do you hate real estate agents? Yeah. And just see what they say. They'll typically get one.
Oh yeah. I had a guy one time tell me that and when I asked him when he sold the home where he looking to move to, he said, well, I'm going to prison. I'm like, oh, so you definitely want to get this sold soon, huh? And he started laughing. And he's like, you know, you're the only agent that actually followed up with another question after I said that. He told me that he was only saying that to get us off the phone.
They do.
Right? They do. So you have to battle through those objections, and how you learn to do that is through coaching, through role playing, through scripts, through dialogues, because until you can make it your own and actually come off genuine, you have to understand the words and the meaning behind the words first.
Absolutely. There's psychology behind the scripts that we give you. They're there for a reason, but they're there for you to internalize them and then turn them into your own scripts and your own verbiage, for sure. One of the things I'm doing a lot more of, and I'm getting a good response to it from it as well, is once you get down to that, and okay, so you're moving to Florida and you got to be there within the next 3 months. That's okay. That's great. And so let me ask you, I mean, you're cooperating with buyer's agents, offering out a 3% buyer's commission?
Yep.
Great. Oh, wow. Okay. So sounds like you're just really trying to save 3% on the sale, aren't you? And if they say yes, you'd be, okay, great. Well, look, if there was a situation where we got together and we reviewed a plan and a strategy that could potentially net you more than that 3% you're trying to save on the sale, would you at least want to look at that? Right?
Would you be open to exploring that?
Yeah. Would you be open to exploring that? Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely. You got to think about it, you know, and, but that's part of the psychology behind, because if you don't do coaching and you don't know what reframing is, and you can't listen for the opportunity to reframe, you're not going to get anywhere on that call.
No. And 9 out of 10 agents don't even know what reframing is, right? So when a for sale by owner gets a call from an agent, 9 times out of 10, it's someone who doesn't know what they're doing, which is why most of the time the for sale by owner is so pissed off all the time, because they're getting agents that are calling them, just badgering them, pretty much telling them, hey, you're an idiot. What you're doing is not going to work. You need me.
Yes.
Great selling point, right?
Yeah. Awesome.
No, that's not what we should be doing. We call it for sale by owner to ask questions, to find out what their problems are, and then offer a solution or a service based on what they need. That's how we convey value.
Absolutely. You cannot serve anyone unless you know what their problems are and their motivation is.
Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. If I go in to a shoe store looking for Nikes for running, and I'm just trying to sell, and the salesman's just trying to sell me combat boots,
yeah.
I'm going to be pissed,
yeah.
and I'm going somewhere else.
Exactly. Yeah.
Guys, you got to ask questions. You got to find problems and motivation. You can't serve people without that.
Mm-hmm. And for those out there that say, well, I don't like a script, they're written for a reason. And if what you're doing is not working, why would you not be open to trying something else?
I don't know.
Right?
I don't know. I recruit on a daily basis, and I have agents telling me they don't want to make more money. So,
oh my God. That's all right. So we've touched, and that, we talked about for sale by owners, but that really transcribes across all your business, right? So any for sale by owners, SOI, expired, withdrawn, all the stuff that we talked about applies to everybody.
It really does. And you can't even say that enough. Honestly, like the way I work for sale by owners, and I've learned to work for sale by owners with you, that skill set has translated over to every other aspect of my business. It's translated to expireds. It's translated to handling my clients and the objections they give me throughout the process. Being able to respond, reframe, ask another question to help create perspective for them.
Yep.
Right. I use these skills when I'm with my agents, maybe coaching my agents. I use these skills when I'm recruiting.
Yep.
Right. Can't tell you how often I ask agents. So I mean, look, you want to double your business next year and this and that. Well, I'm just curious. Would you be open to the idea of sitting down with me for 5 to 10 minutes just to see what our company has to offer?
Yes.
Right? Open to the idea, not let's get together. Gosh, can I tell you what my biggest pet peeve is right now?
Tell me.
We're on a roll right now.
Tell me.
Mr. Seller, I'd love to come over and see your house. Yeah. I'd love to help you with this sale.
Oh, yeah. I.
Guys, people don't care what you want, or what you need. They care about what they want and need. And what they want is to get this house sold for the most money possible. That's it.
That's it.
There's nothing else.
Not only that, but they don't want to be told that they have a problem. We want them to discover they have a problem through our phrasing of our questions, right? Because if I call you up and say, hey, James, it's 9 o'clock in the morning, I want to tell you what you're doing is not working and you have a bunch of problems. Compelling sales pitch, right?
Huge.
No, I want to ask questions to find out what's most important to you specifically, and then offer that out to you to see if you would be open to exploring that with me.
Right.
It's an option. It's not a decision. It's an option to you.
It's an option. It's an opportunity, and that's really it. So you just got to be able to convey that in a type of way and help them realize that. Yeah, absolutely. So working for sale by owners and handling those, and it's spilled over to every other aspect of my business. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And so you've touched on the coaching side a little bit. You were with me for a little while. What was it like before, during, after? What were your biggest takeaways? Like, what was the experience like?
The coaching experience is, it's unique. It's different. You're going to be challenged. That's the reason you signed up for coaching.
Yep.
For more accountability, your coach is going to tell you what you need to hear. You don't necessarily want to hear it, but you need to hear it. Being able to, I think one of the biggest things for me working with you, especially, I know I joked and I called him, he was my real estate therapist. Man, he was just helping me work through these things I had in my head. Like we spoke about earlier, man, this real estate business will challenge you in a way you've never thought possible.
Yep.
It'll bring out demons. And during that time, it's so much on my plate. You remember between starting coaching and then taking the management position in September. And then once I did that, it was like Gen Blue and then Ignite and this and that. And then the manager retreat and budgets. And I was like, And I remember talking to you. I'm like, man, I'm not getting the results I don't want. It's a tough market. But I'm not getting the results I want. I feel like I'm not enough in any category, wife, husband, family member, prospector, recruiter, manager, coach, not doing enough in any category. But during that time, I was building capacity to handle more.
Yes, you were.
Right. I didn't know it during the time, but I was. Right?
Oh yeah. And that's a painful experience. And I'm glad you brought that up, because if you want to be successful in anything you do, you have to have a very, very high capacity and tolerance for stress.
They say pressure is privilege, right?
Mm-hmm. It is. And so as you start to go through that, when you're experiencing it, it sucks. But just know it's a part of the growth process, because your capacity for stress and your tolerance for stress will have to continually expand. Otherwise, you'll reach that plateau and you'll just stay flat.
Absolutely, man. I forgot I was getting my broker's license during that
Yeah,
time.
you were.
too.
Yeah, you were studying for the broker's test. I remember.
I took my test in April, man. It was a lot, right?
It was.
Like you said, building capacity to handle more. Pressure is privilege. Guys, people are not going to pay you more to handle less problems.
100%. And the funny thing too is you brought up, you referred to me as your real estate psychologist or whatever. Every single client I have has said that to me.
Wow.
I believe at least 80, 85, if not 90% of this business is up here. Mm-hmm. It's all mental.
Yep. And one of the big things I remember clicked with me during the process was, hey, Jamie, you don't get to prospect you don't have to prospect every day. You get to prospect.
Yes.
You don't get to come to the or you have to come to the office every day. You get to come to the office every day.
Yep. Man. And what really smacked me in the face was during the whole COVID thing, because, for most of us, a lot of stuff was taken away. Mm-hmm. And I remember I was the only one coming into the office in Fenton, and I was there alone for like 6 months, just in the dark, working in my office every day. But I'm like, man, until something gets taken away, you don't realize how important or how valuable it is, right? Mm-hmm. So when I approach every day, it's not that I have to prospect. It's not that I have to make calls. It's not that I have to follow up. It's I get to.
Right.
I woke up. I'm breathing. I'm healthy. Now I get to take on the day and take on all these challenges, because, again, that's how you build capacity.
It's a mindset shift.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. I did want to just add too, guys. I think that if you're a full-time agent and looking for longevity in this business, I think that you need to keep the long road in mind for sure.
Yep.
Sometimes I am a little bit short-sighted. My partner Jessica reminds me of the long game sometimes. Even recruiting, I want that appointment done, set. I'm not hanging up until right. But sometimes that's not the perspective you need to have. You need to have the long game, and so stay ahead of the game. Be the knowledge broker. Absorb knowledge regularly. One of the primary reasons I got into coaching and signed up to coaching with Alex was because I knew that 2020 through 2022 market was not going to be here forever. If you did think it was going to be here, you're a fool.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So my whole thing was I'm going to sign up with coaching with Alex. I'm going to learn how to prospect the proper way. I'm going to learn the business. I'm going to get my presentation locked in, and I'm going to have the skill set in the changing market to stay in the market, to stay a real estate agent, to not go back to a 40-hour-week job. It's never happening.
Nope.
Right? You gotta stay ahead of it. And that's why I did coaching was really, I knew that all these agents were running around. Hey, I didn't make as much money as I wanted to the past 2 years. There's no doubt about that. I didn't. It was a tough market, a lot going on. Well, I'll tell you what, 2023 and beyond, I'm not going anywhere because I've got the skills now.
Absolutely. Now you can hunt. Now you know how to hunt and go out, and then it becomes fun.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So now, during all that stuff that was going on, you're on the management side now too. So kind of give us an idea, a peek behind the curtain of like, what's it like to be on the management side of things that some agents may not know?
Some agents may not know. I would say, one, I was open to the management position to co-manage with Jessica was, one, I've just been on this path of saying yes. Yeah, man, I can do that.
Accepting opportunities.
Accept opportunities, right? Challenge yourself. Have confidence in yourself that you can accomplish anything. Like I have the belief system that I could do anything I wanted. I could change careers tomorrow, and I guarantee you I'll have success in that.
Absolutely.
You got to have that mindset. Yeah. Remind me what I just said.
What's it like to be on the management side of things?
Yeah, the management side. So I said yes to this opportunity, and knowing it was going to challenge me, knowing it probably wasn't the ideal time. I remember Chris saying, he's like, hey, Alex is not going to be happy. Right? And he's like, your production's probably going to suffer. But I wanted it was just another challenge for me. It was the next step. I was always going to get my associate broker's license no matter what, whether Chris hired me as a manager or not. Yeah. Just always looking for opportunities to level up, be better, increase your value. So yeah, that's why I took on the position. And I guess the biggest realization as a manager for me is the coaching aspect of it. Like, man, it's turning into such a passion of mine. Like you find yourself wanting to do it more. But just having people rely on you as well.
Yeah. Feels good taking on that responsibility, right?
Yeah. It's another reason to wake up, right? And then also the other reason is again, I don't do anything half, right? I'm going all the way, if not more. So I want to learn this business inside and out.
Absolutely. And that's a great tool to have too, because now you've got agent side down, but now you're all the management, the coaching side, and I'll hit you up down the road because I've been working on you for a while. So eventually Chris won't be happy about it, but we'll talk about it. So the other thing I wanted to make sure I hit with you is recruiting, because you and Jess are really just taking off and really have grown that office. So give us an idea of when you first started, where you guys were at, when you guys started your co-manager positions, and where you're at now and how you were able to get there.
Okay, so yeah, Jessica and I took over managing the Belleville Coldwell Banker office September of 2021. And at that point, we had a brand new office, grand opening in June. Obviously, the manager, she got a promotion, and we kind of slid in there. But Jessica and I were the only producers, honestly, besides the managing broker, and we had a couple that did a couple of deals here and there. But before that, we had an agent leave. We were the two producers, and we get paid to recruit and grow the office. It's part of our job, so that's what we were told to do, and we did it. I think that we've had success this year. So we've definitely doubled our office size. So I'll say that. So we've hired 15 agents this year.
Wow.
Yep. It's been an experience.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's been an experience. Recruiting can be fun. Recruiting agent, hey, it's great. That's
prospecting.
That's the easy part. I'll be honest. Recruiting, prospecting, recruiting. That's the easy part. Getting them in appointments. That's the easy part. And then I'd say closing them is a hard part. But the harder part now it's your job to coach them up.
Yeah.
Right.
Retention.
And make sure you and the company live up to the promises that were set.
Oh yeah.
Like that's the hard part. So hey, 15 agents is great, but now the goal is to get them producing.
Oh yeah.
So they can have the careers and the lives that they want.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, the saying for 90% of the brokers out there should be overpromise and underdeliver. Like that is literally every single office out there, and that's why we're so different. So kind of piggybacking off of that, you've recruited agents, you've talked to a lot, you've doubled your size, you've brought on 15 this year. What's your pitch? Why should an agent come to HRC?
That's a great question. So I'd say an agent should come to HRC. One, I mean, I think that this company, Coldwell Banker Professionals, Century 21's, HRC as a whole, this company actually cares about your success. Actually cares about your life, honestly, and your success. You are a person in this company. I always thought it was incredible. It's a skill, and guys, I think we should all practice this skill. It's something I need to be better at. Chris Hendricks has this gift of remembering everybody's name.
Yep.
I don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
But he does. Randy, I could have hired an agent 30 days ago. He'd walk into my office and know his name. I don't know if he's looking it up. He's practicing on the way in, whatever. That's a skill set, guys. Nothing is more precious than somebody's name. Get it right the first time. That's huge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But also I'd say that the big thing is we care about it. And then, I mean, obviously we're in our communities, we're making a difference. We have the tools, the technology, the resources that I think every agent should have for their business. So, I mean, whether you're a new agent and you want to sell a certain amount, we've got everything for you: systems, processes, departments.
Yep.
If you're an agent that wants to level up, we've got, like I said, the closing department. We've got the marketing department. So you could sell the same amount of money, right? Or same amount of volume and earn the same amount of money with less work, spending more time with your family.
Yep.
Or you can just totally level up with, again, coaching, marketing, transaction coordinator, all that good stuff. And then one of our pitches actually is I think it benefits us to that Jessica and I are the people we are. Number one.
For sure.
That's for sure. There are no egos there, right? So how many times, Jessica wouldn't want me to say it, but she is my mentor and we're friends, right? And we're coworkers and all that. it works because of that.
Yeah.
We spend time with each other. We have the relationship we have, and we sell that in the appointments, in the interview. So, you know, if we're interviewing you, Alex, we start off every conversation with, hey, we're just here to explore, learn a little bit about each other. And hey, if everything makes sense for you and you feel like this could be the home for you to build your real estate career, whatever, hey, then we can get to sign some paperwork at the end of this thing, right? But I'll get into saying, okay, here's a little bit about Jessica. And Jessica talks about where she come from and how she got into the business and where she's at and why. Then I do the same thing. I think the kicker for us is that she was my mentor.
Yeah,
and we
sure.
sell that in the interview. So we hit hard at the mentor program because it works.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the thing, is we're evidence that it works.
And that's it too. It's like, because you're real example of, look, this is a product of a brand new agent. Now you're in management. You've been through coaching. You're a producer. This is real, right?
This is real.
As opposed to selling you a bag of empty goods like every other broker out there, right? And so if you're a new agent and you're interviewing multiple brokers, one of the best questions you can ask is, okay, who was your last agent you brought on and what was their production last 6 to 12 months?
Yep.
No new agent's going to ask that. And if you ask a broker that somewhere else, they probably don't even know, right?
That's exactly right.
So you should be asking those questions. And yeah, the other point you brought up too, which is great, which is it's not a dog-eat-dog environment.
Oh, no.
Right? It's not a, hey, scarcity, I'm not going to share my secrets with you because I don't want you to do better than me. It's no, this is what I'm doing. This is what's working. This is it. Go ahead and take it and use it, right? We're very open here in sharing, and not that scarcity, hey, don't do better than me mindset.
That's exactly right. And we push that. They see it. The proof is in the pudding. But also, you know, like I said, just be human, connect. I've even said things like, hey, look, my primary job, although I sell as well,
Yeah.
right? Chris pays me to coach you guys,
Yeah.
and grow this office.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to do more of. So again, I'm here for you. I'm not here to compete with you. I'm here for you,
Absolutely.
right? And in fact, you don't get one broker to help you, you get two,
You get two.
right? You got a great support system. We sell all 3 levels of the company: global, corporate, HRC, and then home office, right? So we're a large scale company. We have a big company. We have a lot of power, a lot of clout,
Oh, yeah.
but we're still a hometown office, and you'll be treated that way for sure.
Pretty good sales pitch, isn't it? Well, man, if you don't believe it, we're up on an hour.
Yeah, no, I believe it. I believe it for sure.
So closing arguments, closing thoughts, anything you want to throw out to everybody, anything else you want to touch on?
Yeah, no, I mean, I just want to thank you again for having me on this opportunity. Again, don't turn down opportunities. Say yes. Even if it scares the crap out of you, say yes. Do it. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. If the agents out there are listening, I think right now during this holiday season, you're unwinding, you're laying on the couch, watching football and whatnot. Hop on that laptop, start making a checklist of things you can do, a maintenance checklist. Start looking at every aspect of your business, what it looks like, what the process is like, how are you serving your clients, when and where. Look at your email signature, change your voicemail, your profile picture.
Yep.
Get your menu of services up right. Are you using the Moxie listing presentation program?
Which is awesome, by the way. You need to be using it.
You got to check it out. It's continuing to get better. Think about that. How can you customize that, right? It's so customizable, guys. You guys have PDF documents, like this document, easy to upload, put it right in your presentation. Professional photography, you can upload YouTube videos. One of the first things that we did, and I would challenge everybody to do it and add it to their listing presentation. Something Dawn mentioned she did a long time ago in her emails is film a little introductory video. So that potential customer client can see your face, can hear your voice, can see your mannerisms. You're an actual real person, not the profile picture from 7 years ago.
Right.
Exactly, right?
Yep.
That's the first slide in my presentation.
That's the level of professionalism.
Looking forward to meeting you.
Yeah.
Here's what we're going to do when I see you. And if everything makes, right?
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
It's not a sales pitch, but it's, hey, this is who we are. And when we see you, this is what we're going to do. We're going to call you the day of and remind you. We're laying it all out. So start tweaking all your systems and processes. How can you serve your clients better in 2023? Because if you don't bring the value and increase your skill set, you're going to be doing something different.
They're going to find somebody else that will. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So I love that. Tons of great information on this one. We're about an hour, so it's pretty good. It flew by. James Morgan, thank you so much for being here, man. I appreciate it. And I'm sure we'll be doing it again soon.
Yeah, let's do it again, man.
Absolutely. Hope you guys like it. Comment if you liked it. And give us some feedback. Let you guys know what we think. Thanks, guys.